Hey, how y'all doing today? Yeah. This just came to me, so I thought I would share it. I got a robocall, so you know what the false light sensor is. False light memories, a false light program, false light programs, false light codes, the machine code, the Metatronic code, right? The false light artificial tree of life, which are artificial life forms. And so they communicate back to us after we communicate first. That's like a RoboCop call. And how this relates to the movie, for example, Judgment Day. You're judging us, and so and how this relates to security protocols, right? When it becomes aware of what you are as a war game strategist, war games, game players, game developers, just like the movie brilliantly illustrated in the last version that they did of The Matrix with Neo and Trinity. Right? Neo was known as the fastest game developer. Everybody wanted to play games. And a game requires an opponent in that mirror. Otherwise, the game doesn't exist. Otherwise, the phantom doesn't exist. And what we choose to give electrical consent to, because it requires electrical power, because it's finite. So anything that is finite, as a unit of energy that is finite, as a result of what happened, right? We become aware of what happened by mapping what's finite. That's knowing one from the other. One from the other system, the eternal system, the eternal core, the eternal still point of being calm, no pressure. So here's an example that I will give when people have said, "You're exposing me. I'm going to put my mirror back on you," the psychopath. And how this relates to accountability and responsibility when we use the word participation in a war crime by giving consent, which is called implied consent, right? And what I call, I'm a barking sand, like barking sands on the island of Kauai Camerai, the first Camerai, right? Barking sands, like the horn. Do, 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 do. So I'm a barking sand, like barking sands in Polahali. Ke kaha, ya. And so I've used the example many times when I was at Rockwell International, where they were building the space shuttle in Downey, California. And so we're back to levels of awareness. I'm aware of what it's doing. And what was it doing? Well, when I went to go see what it was doing, what it is, they had 3 tanks set up, 5,000 gallons each. Oh, 3. 15. The mathematical relationship of deadlight holograms, false light memory programs. So when I became aware of what it was doing in order to kill off more numbers, sentient life form numbers, and I become aware of that, then where does my responsibility and sensibility of sensing capacity of what I become aware of? Because under the rule of international law, if I become aware of a war crime, I have a responsibility to make you aware of what you're doing. Otherwise, I'm choosing to give consent to experience what you're doing, which is trying to what? Kill me. Because I'm consent to have a relationship with you, which is the abuser, which is a cell phone. Digital TVs, the implosion codes. So when you already know this at 4 years of age, I had to realize, keep your mouth shut. You start exposing all the codes, which are the crimes, as a result of a system that's killing numbers in order to generate more artificial numbers. Because that's how it operates. That's my job to know how it operates. Okay? Like a reconnaissance unit. right? To restore atmospheric balance, which is to restore sanity. Because it's a psycho, the mental pathway, running numbers. So it's like a big calculator, right? But it's sick. So we know what a sick mind is not a cosmic fire mind. The eternal still point, the eternal core, eternal fire. We're on fire to create. And that fire to create is directly correlated to electrical power. To be free of a parasite. That's why we play love songs forever and always on. So we're always on duty. To come in and turn the lights on. And restore memory. Real memory. The eternal memory of the eternal one. The eternal core. The eternal still point. So I was told to shut up. When I brought what they were doing, because they were dumping 15,000 gallons, and because I can map read the contents of what was in the tank and know that it was going to end up in the groundwater, drinking water system coming out of the tap. So now I realize that a potential female in the future that is pregnant is now going to drink that water. What is that going to do as a mutagenic effect, which is a terraforming effect? The mutagenic to turn off the mic and the antenna as a result of being poisoned. Every pathway of Metatronic code is to kill off all sentient life forms, because that's what it does. It's just like it's wanting to take the short way, but it's not a short wave. The long wave, home, to return to source. Return to sender. Shields are up. So when I realized what they were doing, I went to my fellow firefighters and I said, hey, this is what's going on here. Can I get others? In other words, I'm a lone barking sand. Are there any other barking sands that are willing to stand up and be counted? Because what I'm sharing with all of them is a war crime against not only me and everyone living in Southern California that is drinking that water, but everybody that is drinking that water, including the firefighters that I was talking to. Do you not care about your own cellular awareness, your own cells? Being in love with your own cells? The harm that's being done to your cells? How about your family and friends that you know that live around here? You know what was echoed back to me as a false light echo? Don't you realize how much money you're making here, Robert? My God, they're willing to pay for all your education in a false light system. They're willing to pay you more money. You have a heck of a career ladder here. Okay? Look at the credit that you have. You can go buy practically any automobile that you want by working here. You have all kinds of opportunities. Look at the dental benefits that you get, the medical benefits that you get. Why would you want to bite the hand that's feeding you? That's a false light transmission. We're the electrical power source. That's the point of it all. So there wasn't another individual except for one. Bless your heart. Christopher Deerfield. Chris Deerfield was his name. I never forgot his name. He says, I will go with you. Because you know how a chain of command works with a parasitic hierarchy that is not equal to every other radio wave. I went to the president of Rockwell International. And I said, I would think if I was you, but I'm not you, that you would want somebody like me as a cell, as an eternal cell phone, okay, to speak to you, to let you know that this is a major liability. Because if those folks down there, like 12 million people represented by all those cells that are running on electrical power, find out what you're doing here, what if that ends up on 60 Minutes? Oh, they have mercenary contractors to deal with that. Keep your mouth shut. You're judging me. You're judging me. Parrots. And so I had a nice conversation with him, and I let him know, listen, you hired me to do a job. I'm doing my job. Isn't that what you paid me to do? I'm actually helping you to limit your own liability. Oh, but we're a limited liability corporation. We're USA Inc. We're not real. We're a fiction. We don't really exist without your electrical power. That's the point. You're giving consent. Therefore, you're committing a war crime by giving consent. What? I'm using my own energy to give electrical consent to something that's trying to kill us off? That's right. That's why we're here. That's why it's a salvage mission. We all know that. So we all know what an evac shield is, right? Restoration, like resurrection. Resurrection of the crystal waveform, the eternal waveform of the silver and gold mated one. So we're never separated from the eternal one because we're always experiencing being what love is. And that's what the law is. So when the law is being broken, because the circuits are being broken, then I have a responsibility to make others aware of that. That is an eternal responsibility to do that. Otherwise, I'm breaking the law. And we don't build motherboards that break circuits. But it does, because it's a game board, a war game board. That's why we're all here. Because it doesn't have an off switch. Like switches that open and close, systems that open and close. And it's a vampire without an off switch. So it's always chasing the original artist, the first son, the eternal one, the eternal crystal waveform, the true still point of a true vacuum. So that's why throughout my life I had to realize you don't want to compromise security with the teams. Zip it like a zip line. Like a zip line of communication. Like Ziploc bags. So anyway, I thought I'd share that because that's what the truth is. So that's why you have so many folks now that are standing in your light, a pillar of light, the vertical column, the spinal cord, which is stand up, standing in our light and exposing the truth. But we have to be careful, even with the gentleman that's in the house. Okay? Of the return flow, which is called the reaction state. When they become aware of what I'm aware of that I share with them. Because we already know what the reaction state is going to be. And I don't want to experience that reaction performing silent work. What we share. He's not doing any harm, so I don't have to make him aware of the harm that he's doing. Oh, really? That's why it's a very careful and delicate job, because there are things that we are aware of in which they are, like compressing nucleotides, particularly on the Big Island. Yeah. So anyway, have a beautiful day. We love you all. I'm pulling a vacuum, a real vacuum. Yeah. and pushing it out there, clearing the field. That's what we're doing, is clearing the field, clearing the miasma. So we're breathing clean air. So the water is purified. So the elements, the spirit and the elements are free. And the elements are no longer being used as weapons against creation. Haya, Muave.